What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of TheLead Houston, where it's all Houston all the time. Today, we get to react NFL Network, the insiders, Mr. Ian Rappaport himself, talking about Cooper Kupp situation. Ladies and gentlemen, am I saying there's a chance? And by me, I mean Mr. Ian Rappaport. Look, this would be a very interesting topic, and you already know what it is. It's the idea of Cooper Kupp potentially landing here in Houston with our Texans. Maybe a reunion with Nick Caley, who knows? But we got a clip here to react to. And again, this is Ian Rappaport from the Insiders talking about Cooper Kupp. Really, that's all he's talking about. And he mentioned a few teams, and one of those teams is our Houston Texans. Let's take a listen.
It's kind of a weird situation because we've known for weeks that Cooper Kupp is available. No one's traded for him, which sort of creates the perception publicly that, like, his market is kind of meh. Like, I don't think it is. I think it's pretty strong. I don't think it's going to be $20 million a year. Otherwise, somebody would have traded for him. But, if it's 11, 12, like Josh Palmer and free agency, got to believe it was 12. Like, I could see Cooper Kupp in that range. You guys mentioned the Jaguars. Makes a ton of sense. Texans make a lot of sense, even though they traded for Christian Kirk. The Saints, what about the Seahawks, who have some familiarity there, just scheme-wise, system-wise, and personnel-wise from the Rams. There's going to be a lot of teams available, and he is at the stage in his career now where he's probably not going to be setting the all-time record in receptions. I don't want to doubt him; anything is possible, but I would not. I'm not so sure that's where he's going to be. But as a valuable security blanket for a quarterback, as a smart receiver who can keep the chains moving, he is perfect, a potential final piece for a really good offense. Cooper Kupp is going to be in demand, and I would agree with you guys. I think it happens pretty fast.
That's interesting. And I could agree with them, too. It seems like the Houston Texans, if they are going to want Cooper Kupp, it's going to happen pretty fast because his market is going to be absolutely wide open. And considering Cooper Kupp, his stats overall, you're looking at a guy that is 6'2", 207, still can do it at a very high rate. The only issue with Cooper Kupp is staying on the field. If anybody missed my video with Aaron Coscarelli, she is a LA Rams insider, works for the Believe Network, but has that media credential pass and watches the Rams as much as anybody. And she mentioned the injury history as being something that teams are going to worry about when it comes to Cooper Kupp and his overall longevity with them. Again, Cooper Kupp getting a little long in the tooth now, and when it comes to age, you do wonder how many more years he can play. But to land here in Houston, you already have a Nick Caley connection there with the LA Rams. This feels like that is the only drawn connection, though. How much is Ian Rappaport reporting and speculating? I think that's the biggest question right there. And to be completely honest, it just doesn't feel like this is a move that would happen for the Houston Texans. He mentioned that his dollar range could be anywhere between 10 to 12 million. And I am just not quite sure that is the right amount of money to allocate into a wide receiver right now when there are other needs, especially on the offensive line, and there is still some half decent guards out there, interior linemen out there that could far more help this team than a Cooper Kupp can. And that's unfortunate to hear. But when you traded for Christian Kirk, he is somebody that is heavily going to be used in that slot role. Cooper Kupp also plays heavily in the slot as well. That's not saying either one of them guys can't play outside as your X receiver, but it's just a big ask as well for them because they've predominantly played in the slot for the majority of their career. It's not really where you're utilizing their strengths or their abilities at. And the Houston Texans are known for using players to the strengths of their abilities, i.e. Jalen Petrie being in that jack role, star role, whatever you want to call it. So the Houston Texans, Cooper Kupp, as much as I would love for this to happen, I really, really would. Money is going to become an issue. And I do wonder how true this is for me and Rappaport, because again, it just feels like the only drawn conclusion from this happening is the Nick Caley connection. I don't necessarily see the Texans going after Cooper Kupp, and he's going to be chased after, like they said, relatively quick. So Ian Rappaport says the Texans, what did he say? Texans seem to make sense. They do, sure, but I feel like this again is more speculation more than anything. But what do I know? Let me know down in the comment section. Do you think the Houston Texans are going after Cooper Kupp? Do you want him here in Htown? That should obviously be a yes. If it's a no, I'd be shocked. But again, the injury history is concerning, and I do get that. But man, the production he can do when he is on the field is a whole different conversation. Maybe it happens. Maybe you get the holy trinity of white boy wide receivers. You already got Braxton Berrios, Justin Watson, and now you get the holy grail, the holy trinity, complete it all by getting one of the best, coldest white boy wide receivers to come to the Houston Texans and have CJ Stroud act like Tom Brady, throwing to Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, and Chris Hogan. Hey, it sounds like a pipe dream, but crazier things have happened. Hell, we traded Kenyon Green for CJ Gardner Johnson, so that's a pretty crazy trade already. So hey, who knows what happens, but ultimately, y'all let me know down in the comment section how much y'all believe this story is true or fake. As always, guys, go Astros, go Rockets, go Texans. You have a blessed day.